Hello and welcome to Sobrix. I'm Adam and this is Sobrix. This is my channel for reviewing Lego sets and building them and other Lego related stuff. This is a special video because in this video I'm going to be looking at a set from my childhood, and I'm going to be putting it together and reviewing it. And then I think part of the reason was I was looking for all the pieces for this to potentially sell it, because I was thinking about selling some of the minifigures, and then I decided, well, maybe I will just try to get it all together. So I went through a lot of my old pieces, which are separate from my modern collection, and I think I was able to find everything. I hope I was. And the set I will be looking at is this one. This is Lego Star Wars Jabba's Palace. The set number is 4480. It has 234 pieces, and I paid $30 for this. This is a set from 2003, so we're looking at over 20 years old now. And I think that kind of constitutes vintage. This is from the original line, the classic Star Wars line, that was happening really early, and part of the way you can tell is that the minifigures are still yellow in these, when in later ones eventually the minifigures were kind of the light nougat, or sort of the tan, well, or any other color, depending on what, once Lego started to not make everybody this bright classic Lego yellow, and they started making minifigures that represented just different people with different skin tones. They sort of changed that. So this is a sort of a vintage set here, and I think I have everything to put this together, including I have the Jabba kind of big fig here. I do have the Leia in kind of an infamous outfit. This figure alone I think goes for $30+ maybe 20 to 30 depending on the condition. I think a lot of them, because they're so old, have cracks and different stuff. Mine's in pretty good condition. I've already put together the droids here, and we'll go through the rest of these characters when I normally do, but I just wanted to say that I do have all of these extra pieces over here. I was just keeping them slightly off screen for now, and I'm excited to look at this, make sure I have everything, and we'll go from there. So in this video, I'm going to put this together, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on it. So while I build, I will speed the video up, and then I'll slow it back down to review this set. So until then, enjoy. Okay, so while we look at the build process for this Lego Star Wars Jabba's Palace set, I just wanted to say thanks for watching, and then remind you, if you like this video, click the thumbs up. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button. That helps me a lot. So not a ton of pieces in this set, but this is a little interesting. The pieces were a little bit louder, they're older, they're dustier, and I don't know what else, but for the most part things are in pretty good condition, and I was able to find everything, which is really nice. So we're kind of setting up the base for this, the first floor. Now we can work on kind of Jabba's throne area, which is some of the key functionality of this, and add a little bit of detail on the back. Instructions from this era of Legos were much different than instructions are now, so that was kind of unique. We start populating the rest of this area here, and adding in some of the special little things, and then we can add the torches, the flames, a couple finishing touches, and that's it. So now on to my review for this set. Okay, so that is this vintage Lego Star Wars Jabba's Palace set. This is awesome. It was quite the process to make sure I had everything, and I don't know if this is a me thing or not, but I can't tell. These are pretty dusty. If I were to clean everything in here, maybe it would be a little bit nicer. There's some functionality that doesn't work as well because, like I said, I did use old pieces. I don't think there's any pieces in here that really couldn't be swapped out for modern ones. I think for the most part, everything is still around. I don't know for certain, but that's what it feels like to me. So we will get into this, and the first thing we will look at is the minifigures, because you do get some, and I do have the ones that came with this set. And I actually want to start with one that doesn't come in this set, but when I was looking for stuff, I found and realized that it's not with this one, but there are some sets that combine with Jabba's Palace here, Jabba's Prize, and one other one called Jabba's Message. And I don't believe I had either of those when I was a kid. I'm sure I wanted them. I don't believe I ever had those. So, but I do have the kind of older style of Han Solo in carbonite here, and I believe I got this one with the, like, I don't know, Jango Fett, they used to call it the Slave One, his ship, I believe, and this must have been from that, like, first or second version of that particular ship. But I thought that was interesting because there is a side set that fits in with this 4480. I think it's 4476 that comes with this and can attach to one of these sides, and then it would be part of this. So not for any real reason, I just thought it'd be nice to talk about that, potentially include it somewhere, just so it kind of fits. I think it fits well, and cool piece of Lego history here to have the original. I think this only came in 4 sets, so not a super common thing here, and nice printing and everything there, so very fun. I think they did an updated version of this. But then we can look at the rest of the figures, and I'm going to move this over a little bit, and the first one we can look at, this is Jabba's Palace, so we will look at Jabba. This is kind of a big fig. I think they've done a couple different versions of Jabba at various times. I'm not sure about this one. This one was only in 2 sets, in the Sail Barge, which came out a few years later, and then Jabba's Palace here. And they've done a updated one, I believe. Yeah, they did do one that's kind of more in the tan side of things, which was like, had a whole molded tail and more, it had printing going on and everything like that. And that one's from 2012 era maybe. So again, it was Jabba's Palace and Jabba's Sail Barge, the same couple sets, but several years later. And surprisingly, the more recent one, the one with all the printing, is worth more. But even for this alone, this probably goes for around $20, just for this Jabba figure here, which mine's in pretty good condition, I would say, so that's all really nice. The arms and the body and the face, like, this is all molded together. You can kind of see where a couple of, it has like a split that these are put together, but not they come to you like this. The tail, however, is attached with a Technic there, and then they still make this kind of barb piece with the for the tail. I think it has a hole on it now generally, but so you do have to put these couple pieces together to get Jabba's tail. But I think this is cool. I really like the face. I know it doesn't have printing, but it's still like very iconic. It does have a good amount of studs to stud this down, get it really stable. Yeah, I think this is a really nice figure. You can move the arms. The arms can hold something, I believe, which is good. I don't know. yeah, we can get something in there. So that's fine. You can move the arms. Nothing like rotates or anything. So you can't rotate the head, move the mouth, or anything like that. It's kind of just a blob of Jabba here, and he's still kind of a rare-ish little figure, and this one is in somewhat good condition, so I'm pretty happy about that. I don't think there's really too much sun damage, no like parts missing, no broken pieces, not even really any scratches or any chips or anything like that. So I would say this is in really good condition, all things considered. And that's a cool figure. The other ones we get, I'll kind of go through this in a weird way. We have this droid. This is the EV9D9. So this is cool, and I think for the time was a little unique because we have kind of the battle droid legs, battle droid arms here, but they're in the dark bluish gray or dark gray at the time, the brown torso there, and then this is a minifigure head, but it's actually on here upside down. So the printing for that would normally kind of look like this, but we put a clip on here, the older style of the 1x1 with the clip, and then we invert this, and that's how we get the face. It does make them a little bit taller, and that's all nice, but this is what the face kind of looks like when it's on there. So that's EV9D9. The other one, this one I was pretty excited about. This is the Bo'omar Monk, B''OMARR space monk, and it's kind of like a little spider walking thing. Does use the black katana here. Nice of this like kind of crystal translucent globe piece. There's some upside down stuff in here, inverted tile on the top. You can kind of spin these, move these around, but I think it looks good like that. It's pretty light, can stand just on the katanas without damaging anything there. There is I believe just an orange stud in here. At least that's what I put in here. I'm pretty sure that's what's supposed to be in there. And then it kind of gets like refracted a little bit just because of the way they did this globe piece. It's almost kind of got like a lens nature to it because there are certain pieces from back in the day that it would like magnify. So cool to get that. I actually have a lot of this piece, and I don't even know from every set, but it's cool to get that. And then we have the Gonk droid. This is iconic, I would say, which is very cool. I don't know how, if people are really crazy about this, but it seems like this is valuable in its own way. So it uses the kind of older style like Lego box piece here, and then it has the printed lid. So there's nothing in there right now. We just have like a jumper and some 1x1, some studs and some clips for the feet. And for this as well, I'm assuming mostly for the print, it looks like on there's one in the US on Bricklink that is kind of scratched that goes for almost $40. My print looks great. There's no scratches on the front. There's maybe one scratch kind of right here on the back, and the back is a basic, so I might be actually able to replace that. I don't know if that is sacrilege or not, but I probably have more of these dark gray, dark bluish gray box pieces, mailbox almost, that I could swap in that maybe are in better condition, and then I could have a Gonk droid. So that's, I think they've done other versions of Gonk droids. This one is only in one set, and that's partially the reason that it is valuable for particular, for certain people. I didn't check what the other ones were at. I think the this one is somewhat common pieces, and so not too crazy. I'm assuming they go for maybe $5 or $5 or something like that. And the this one, goes a little bit higher, maybe even close to $20 on this. So a lot of the value of the set in 2024 is probably the figures, the Big Fig, the Gonk, the Eevee, 9D9 or whatever that is. And then we also have a couple other ones. We have Luke Skywalker here, which is the Luke Skywalker Jabba's Palace. And this is great. So we have the lightsaber, Luke's lightsaber here, and it's the green one with the chromed out hilt, which I have a bunch of these chrome hilts, which is really, really cool. It does have the cloth cape with 2 holes, printing for the torsos, kind of the robe stuff there, and that's all good. There's no printing on the back. There's no alternate face. It does come with a hairpiece, though, so they did the alternate hairpiece, and they did a hood piece here, which is really, really nice. Unfortunately, to me, it looks like the head here, which is only available in like 1 or 2 sets in this kind of expression, has a little bit of a imperfection or some wear and tear on it around the mouth, which is a bummer. I wasn't sure at first if there was like other heads, so I did grab ones that I think are just Luke's from other sets, and they're subtly different, I believe. Actually, this one might be the same, and then if it is, I kind of have these other heads here because there's a little bit of something like a dimple or for the chin underneath the mouth. The mouth is kind of flat. Are these the same? It looks like they are. So let me see if I swap this out. Maybe they did have this same expression in more than one set. Let me, is this not the right one? I'm sort of yellow minifigure head, Star Wars brown eyebrows, and chin dimple, blocked open stud. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, this face does come in 15 different sets, so it wasn't just the one. So I'm assuming I can just swap that out and have one that's in much better condition, which is excellent. Glad I had that nearby. But here Luke is with the hood, which is cool. We also get the hairpiece, the lightsaber there. And then the last minifigure for this one is another kind of iconic one. It's a little bit risque, I would say, and kind of, I don't know if Lego does this anymore. I know for at the very least they don't call it the same thing, but this is Leia, which is Princess Leia from Jabba's palace. So the outfit is pretty suggestive, and they call this again Slave Leia, like they used to call the one ship Slave One. They try to avoid using that word, I think, for Lego. That's what they're called. That stuff's called in universe. I don't know if they Disney owns it now and whatever, and that's fine, but when this was released, this was referred to as Slave Leia, but it's Princess Leia here, and again yellow, so yellow skin, and we have kind of a basic hairpiece for this character, but it's fine. There's no alternate face. Face is a pretty standard looking minifigure face. They do have something around the neck, which has the open stud on the back, which I'll explain later. And then they kind of have this sort of bikini top in the gold. There's some nice detail in there, which is good, but then just kind of bare torso for the most part. So not a ton covering up. We do have like a navel in there, some suggestion of hips, nothing on the arms. We do have printing on the midsection, which is very, very cool. And then we do have printing on the legs again, and we can see all of that there, which is nice. Nothing on the back as far as printing goes. So this is another one. I think this figure, this Princess Leia, it goes for around $30-ish depending on the condition, which is wild. I think mine has just like a hairline fracture on the back of the torso near the midsection. They don't go all the way through because I checked, so it's not like cracked, so it's either a scratch or just a very, very small thing. I wouldn't, like, I cannot feel it, but I can kind of see it. It might be hard on camera to see it, but there's one kind of right here and one kind of right here, which is a bummer. If it was in better condition, I mean, I don't even know if people would notice that or not. Maybe they would. A trained eye probably would, and some collectors are really, really wanting this to be like pristine. Thankfully, there's no cracks or anything on the front of the torso. So I'm looking at brick link here, and it looks like there's playwear on the back of the legs, crack on the front of the torso, 2 cracks on the front of the torso, and some print fading, lots of different stuff, different scratches and whatever else. I would say for the most part the front of this is in very good condition, except, is that printed on there? Oh no, that's right. Yeah, the front of this is in great condition, I would say. So that's really nice. I think they would probably give this, $35 to $40 maybe even potentially. So that's really, really interesting. There's other versions of these characters, like when they redid this, and the Jabba figure from those other sets goes for maybe twice as much as this one, the one that's kind of all molded and has some printing on it. And then the kind of this version of Leia with this outfit from a few years later when they were tan or kind of light nougat goes for a bit more than this, which is interesting because these are, more vintage, potentially more rare, but they're just not as valuable in the modern market. So that's all the figures. I know we spent some time going about that. I have this over here. I think this is, what they used to store rubber bands on. There were rubber bands in this set, and I have old Lego rubber bands. Actually, when I was looking for all the pieces here, I found a couple, and one of them disintegrated in my hand. They had a tendency back in the day, maybe they still do, to get kind of dried out, and then they would crumble. They would almost solidify, and they wouldn't have their springiness. They wouldn't be as rubbery. So that's an issue. Those are the only parts I believe I don't have. I'm assuming I can swap those out for other rubber bands. I don't even know if they have to be Lego rubber bands, but if they're the right gauge or like the right size, and they're black and whatever, I would be fine having those there. So I'll have to get those to do that. And then the rest of the build is this Jabba's palace here, which is cool. So let me move the figures around. And this is unique. There are not a ton of pieces here. You start by building at the back with some 2x12s. You put tile over there. We add, a brown brick with the pin, and on the other side a brown brick with the hole. That's for those 2 other sets, 4475 and 4476, that can attach to this, which I don't have, but that's pretty basic. We do use several of these kind of bigger panel pieces, these larger tall bricks. I think you use 8 of them. It's actually the same piece that the Carbonite Han Solo is on, but without printing. So you do use a bunch of those, and then we extend out. And the instructions for this is so interesting because they don't have the inventory for each step, and there's certain things where step 5, we're putting this 2x12 at the front of these, but it doesn't attach to anything until the next step, and then we put stuff on, which they don't do as often now, but they still occasionally will. So you can see it's pretty empty on the bottom. If I turn this over, we have a pretty big empty space here, which is fine, but we work on building all of this up first, and then we get to the front, and before we put any of the second floor on, we work on the front, and up at the kind of front of this, we have some different stuff going on. So this can open up. It does use this tile with the kind of handlebar coming off of it to keep it together, which is a little bit odd, I think, but you take that off, and then these are on a hinge, so we use 2 of the black hinge bricks in there. And I'll kind of flip this around so we can see this, because we do work on some of this stuff, the vented pieces, the 2x2 tile with the Technic pin, the kind of archway there with the gate piece, which is nice, and we have kind of different rooms down here. And then down here we have this control panel, which is printed. I think that one is called the black tile 1x2 with avionics, SW, I'm assuming is Star Wars, copper, red, and silver pattern. So we can kind of see that there. I was very happy I was able to find that, because that's really cool. We do have some pillars here that don't get added until a little bit, until you start putting the roof on. So not a ton going on there. Do have the staircases on the back. These are interesting. They're a bigger piece, and they just attach on the back. So when it's like this, they're back here, something like that. But when they come together, they're sort of coming off of the side. And then also, we have this gate here and this door sort of area and the pillars in there. So it's kind of like a hallway. But when we open it up, it really opens up the space for play and for display there. So that's kind of nice. Not a ton of details as far as like brick built stuff goes in here, and like I said, this set only has 230 pieces, which is not very many. I mean, maybe for the day that was pretty good, but not a ton in here. And then we start working on the next floor, and so we have a trap door here, which is nice, and there's some functionality with that. Then we just put plates on here, tons of studs up here. They maybe would have put walls or different things on here now, but just a lot of studs visible, which is very like classic. We do have a couple more pillars up at the front with the flame pieces and these 4-pronged kind of torch pieces there. Interesting thing is then we build kind of the Jabba's throne almost over here, and it's one of the later things that you build. And we have the big kind of disc up top to kind of cover it up, and this is like a brick plus a plate, and it slides back and forth, which is nice. There's a little bit of detail around there, just some architectural stuff. These headlight bricks with the black stud on them, and then we have the modified 1x2 brick with the handlebar there, and we have these kind of plates here with the bar coming up on it, and we have this, which is a little bit of a lever. This is interesting. It's just a black lever, a brown rounded plate there, and these are supposed to be minifigure heads that are translucent green, and I could not find them in my green. I had them in with my yellow pieces for my vintage Lego, and I was like, oh boy, was that my color blindness? Is that the deal? Or because they're supposed to be like yellow, or sorry, translucent neon green. And I think this is them, because you do have 2 of them. It's kind of a unique piece. I don't know. I mean, maybe it comes in a bunch of sets and still does, but there's different kinds, like a hollow stud, an open stud, Y stud, like one with kind of a Y block, which these are the Y block ones. You can maybe see that Y in there. So I have to imagine these are the correct color, and I just assumed they were yellow. And there's another thing here, which is this dome piece, which again is supposed to be trans neon green, but I had this in the yellow pieces, but I think that was just my color blindness. And this is really cool because this holds something that I did not remember was in this set, but so happy I was able to find. There is a Lego frog in a trans green here. Now this is not the trans neon green, it's just the trans green frog, which is very, very cool that I was able to find that. Lego designers do love their frogs, which is nice, and this kind of just sits in here as, I think Jabba had like a little worm or like a little slug type thing, or just a little character kind of pet that he either handled or sat on his shoulder, or different things. I mean, Jabba's palace was full of all kinds of stuff, and I think that's supposed to represent something like that. So that kind of sits right here over on the side, and I think that's kind of everything, which is really nice. And yeah, in trans green, I'm wondering how how many sets that came in, because the frog comes in a bunch of sets. We know that Lego designers like to fit them in, but in this color, there may be. Let me try to see here if I can find out some information while we're going through this. A lot of green ones, a lot of non-translucent green ones, magenta ones, bright pink, trans green. So in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets, Jabba's Palace, the Fairyland promotional polybag, which was part of Belleville, which is a forgotten theme, and actually all of the other ones are Belleville. So the Golden Palace blue box from 2003, which is a Belleville Golden Land set, and then the Golden Palace with the purple/silver box, which is a Belleville Golden Land set, and then the Queen's Room, which is only an 80-piece set, that's Belleville Fairy Tale. So for the trans green frog, they only put it in a couple sets, and most of them are in Belleville sets that are kind of a theme that I think a lot of people forgot about. I don't even know if they're particularly expensive to buy, but there's just not many of them for sale, which is kind of unique. That is something that can happen. And I think Belleville is kind of the precursor to Friends in some ways, because they weren't minifigures. They were kind of almost bigger than a mini doll, maybe approaching almost Playmobil style stuff. They're kind of unique. So if you're not familiar with the Lego Belleville, maybe check that out, and you can see where there are other places you can get a trans green frog piece. But I thought that was kind of cool to point out. And I think that's everything. So then there is some function in here besides just opening up the front, and that's because we have a trap door there. And that's where the rubber bands would come into this. Essentially, a rubber band would go around this modified plate with the bar coming up off of it, and would go around the one back here, the modified brick with the bar, and the same on the other side. So what would happen is the kind of whole throne area, this where Jabba might sit, that all slides back. And what would happen is the trapdoor would go, but then the rubber bands would make it so this comes back forward right away. It works fine without it. I think because the pieces are maybe a little bit dirty, a little bit dusty, and 20 years old, including the the plates and the tiles that this slides on, it doesn't slide as great as I would want it to, but a little bit of, I could probably just use some water to kind of get the dust off of here and whatever. I don't know if air would be enough to get the dust off, like compressed air, but I could try that, and maybe that would slide it a little better. And then yeah, if it had the rubber bands on there, it almost feels like it might be a little heavy, and just because of the friction, it might be difficult for rubber bands to overcome. I'm sure in 2003, when it was brand new, it worked quite well, but that's a simple mechanism to make that work. And then we can kind of populate this up to have a little scene here. So I will stud Jabba down, something like that, and I'll get their tail set up. We do have Leia kind of over here, maybe at Jabba's side, and we have the chain piece here, which attaches to the thing around Leia's neck, and the stud on the back, because it's the quote-unquote slave Leia. So they are up there next to Jabba and kind of chained to the palace. Then for the rest of the stuff, I think, it's fun to kind of have it sort of open up down here, maybe at an angle like that. The Boamar monk, or Bomar monk, the EV9D9, and the Gonk probably can operate, around here, different places. They could also be studded down, up on top, at various places, sort of watching what's going on. This doesn't stud down, but it could stand somewhere. The Gonk droid could stud down, but I kind of like it sort of populated like with these characters down here, maybe at the control panel with that printed tile there and whatever else. And then when Luke is, I think, bartering with Jabba and maybe trying to free Leia and trying to free Han and whatever else, they might be standing on the trap door, and Jabba can say "Rub, rub, 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 rub," and then slide back, and Luke might fall through there. I don't know if I have to kind of maybe if you can't do it without or maybe you have to do it without the lightsaber, and maybe that's what makes sense. Maybe at the time Luke's lightsaber was holstered or whatever, so he wouldn't have had that in his hand, but I'm trying to see if we can make this work here. And he got caught a little bit. The cape is pretty stiff. If I put on the hairpiece, who knows if this makes a difference, something like that, and we'll see if we can get him to fall through here. I think the cape is doing a lot of or he's causing a lot of the issue. There we go. And that's part of the deal. And now I believe under here is like the Rancor pit. This set doesn't come with that. I think that's what it's called. And I don't remember if Lego has done like Rancor pit things at all. I think maybe they have in Lego. Oh yeah, they have in 2013. That is very cool. Maybe did they also do it in 2006? No, maybe that was just in the Lego Star Wars games or something like that. But they do have a figure for the Rancor, which I don't even want to know how much that goes for. It's a big fig. Those tend to be quite valuable. Yeah, it looks like the Rancor itself goes for about $100. Missing left arm, paw, claws, and no claws on the right paw. $60, and so it's not even complete. Tooth has decolorization, but a lot of them in the US and worldwide are around the $100 mark for the Rancor, but that wasn't included in this set, just like the Han brick wasn't included in this set. And that's kind of everything. I think this is really, really fun. So for this set completely, I said it retailed for $30 when it came out in 2003, and that's true. So that's what I paid for it, or whoever bought this for me at the time, because I was rather young at that time. The retail cost would have been $30 for this sealed and everything. I do not have the box. I do have the instructions, and I would say the instructions are in pretty good condition. There's a little bit of a fold up here, a little bit of some wear and tear up there, but the staples are all right. And I don't know, I would say, because I do have some Lego instruction booklets from this era that are in much worse condition, so that's why I said it's in decent condition. And the instructions are cool. If we look at the back here, we can see the extra sets that go with the side. So I would like to get this minifigure. I can't remember their name right now, but that's where that brick also appears in. Over here, this is another one that I would like, again, with the interesting minifigure head accessory there. This version of C-3PO, this version of R2, I have a bunch of. So these, the message over here, which also has the little eye robot thing that pops out when they are entering, that I can't remember if R2 communicates with or if C-3PO communicates with. And then over here we have the carbonite kind of area. So that's useful to know how to expand it. And then if we look over here, we can see some of the other Lego sets that they made. So 4482, now that's a walker that I have the recent one, the maybe 2022 or 2023 set I have. We have like the Republic gunship up here. Now this stuff is prequel area, I think, and I don't know if this is actually Jedi Bob. It may be, or it's supposed to be Obi-Wan if this is prequel time. I'm not sure exactly, but this one over here and this one over here both look the same. Looks like we have a little bit of a droideka over here from back in the day, which does use that really interesting piece, which is kind of a Lego revolver kind of pistol accessory, and we added binoculars to the handle, and then the droideka holds the barrel, which is a nice use of pieces. I do know I have several of those revolver pieces there, but you know, another kind of cool look at Lego history. They've done other versions of this walker with the 6 legs and the Republic gunships. They've done, you know, many versions of, but we have, you know, maybe the first versions of those things here in the instructions, which is really quite neat to see. And that's kind of everything in this set. So I was going to say, for a complete one with the figures, no box, in America, we're looking at maybe $170 for this if I were to, you know, sell it to a collector or somebody, you know, directly from me. If I were to bring this to a store like a Bricks and Minifigs or any other kind of collectible resale store, I'm not sure what they would offer. Maybe they would only offer like half of that, which puts us at $85, which, you know, is still more than it would have cost back in the day, more than I paid for it. But because of the value of the figures, I think I would want to get a little bit more, just because this Gonk droid is quite expensive. Leia is expensive compared to minifigures, and so is Jabba. You know, the actual pieces of the set here aren't that valuable, and there's not that many of them, but just the idea of having this all complete is pretty intriguing. And to be honest, I don't really want to get rid of it, but it's also just was collecting dust and sitting kind of on its own, and I think there's probably people who would appreciate it maybe a little bit more than me. I certainly got my use out of it as a child, and now again as an adult, and it was a nice blast from the past. It was quite the experience to get all the pieces together and find everything for this. I did not think I would find the frog or the head for this one, but you know, I did okay as a kid in regards to, you know, keeping all of the pieces, even though if they were all dispersed and sorted by color and by type, and had to do some digging to find them. But really, really cool. You know, $30 feels great. And for the last 20 years or so, this hasn't been built, so it hasn't been out in the sun. It's been in storage, and you know, besides a little bit of dust here and there, I would say overall it's in pretty good shape. I do not have the box, but really, really cool, really fun. I enjoyed this as kind of a special thing for me. Maybe this went on a little bit long for a set of this size, but I'm really, really happy with what I have here. It was a great experience. Had a blast talking about it and everything. And, maybe I will decide to keep it. Maybe I will decide to sell it. I'm not really sure yet, but very, very cool. So I think that's everything here, and we can kind of call it a day or call it a video. I'll kind of move this a little bit like this, and I'll say thanks. So if you like this video, please click the thumbs up and give it a like. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button down below so you can stay up to date on all the Lego videos I'll be doing here in the future, including maybe more vintage Lego Star Wars. I have a ton. I have the first Naboo Starfighter, the first pod racers. I have the first Millennium Falcon. I have a bunch of stuff, Lego Star Wars from the first run from 1999 to into the 2000s and whatever. And so maybe I'll look at more of that, but then I'll be looking at tons of other Lego sets from all different themes, all different shape, size, price point, piece count, old sets, new sets, retired sets, used sets, lots of different stuff. So subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming Lego videos. Subscriptions help me a lot, so thank you very much to everybody that does that, and if you haven't already, maybe consider doing it. And then if you wanted to support this channel in a different way by sending money to the channel, you can do that here on YouTube with membership supers and thanks. And I have the Patreon. It's in the video description on my channel page, patreon.com/sobricks. Yeah, you can use that if you're, financially, I don't know, stable or have money that you would consider donating to the channel or giving to the channel. That all goes back into the channel, and then that really, really helps me, but I don't want people to feel that they need to. Just if they want to, there's ways to do that, and it does help a lot, so it means a lot to me, and you get some kind of bonus things and stuff too down the line. So maybe consider looking at that if you're interested and to feel like that's something you would want to do. So thank you very much, and with all of that said, until next time, thanks, bye.